Today is all about giving ourselves permission to look at what is holding us back and look at where we can go and look at the limits that we set on ourselves and how we can shatter those limiting beliefs. And today it is my joy and utmost pleasure to introduce to you my friend, my great connection, my former client, and so much more, Jennifer Beitz. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please join me in welcoming Jennifer Beitz, life coach of Genuine Conversation. Should we start the show with jazz hands?
Right? Jazz hands. Gotta love those jazz hands.
Oh, Jennifer, welcome to the show. I am so excited to talk to you and have you share with my audience your journey and your transformation.
Well, that makes two of us. I'm super excited to be here today, Fanny.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on your show.
Absolutely. Jennifer and I actually met, I think, we were counting back, right? In 2018. Evangelia from the SOS Summit had interviewed me and had put me on the summit. And I talked all about creating videos. And I guess you were part of that summit, you heard my my interview with her, and you reached out, and you had a message to share, right? You were on the cusp of this journey and start of a new journey. But tell the audience like where you were then, and how you came to that SOS Summit and us meeting.
Well, thank you for that lovely intro, Fanny. I was not satisfied where I was in my career. And I knew that in order for me to move forward, I would need to learn new skills. I would have to push myself out of my comfort zone. I would have to do something I haven't done before. And it was at that time that I was restless in my job and looking for new learning opportunities that I came across the job summit that you're speaking of. It was that summit that you spoke about the value of video, and specifically in content creation and how using video was on the rise. And something about what you said really spoke to me. Now, at the time, I was more lurking on LinkedIn than I was actually posting anything on LinkedIn. Here I was kind of lurking around, seeing what people were talking about. And that is what really interested me even more, was seeing others sharing similar messages that I too wanted to share. And yet here I was, I had no social media presence at all. I had not been on social media on any platforms up until this point.
Yeah.
And go
ahead. No, please. Go ahead.
I was just saying that as I was lurking and saw how much value video could have, and I was at a crossroads in my career, knowing I had to push myself out of my comfort zone, that's exactly what I did. In the comfort of my home, I created a video my first time, and I just hit post. And then I waited to see what happened.
Did the world come crashing down?
It did not come crashing down. It was certainly a game changer moment, though, for me.
Why is that?
Well, shortly after posting that, first of all, people started to comment. So that started to increase my anxiety a little bit as I realized,
Yeah,
I'm not the only one that's going to see this. And so as comments started to come in, and actually it did get a lot of views, I started to wrestle with the idea of, uh-oh, I am extremely vulnerable right now. And although I wanted to get my message out there, I was not extremely comfortable with video yet. And
But
so I started to go inside.
how did you know? I mean, a lot of people feel like they want to say something and it's kind of swirling around in their head. But how did you know what to say? How did you know what you wanted to talk about? And and what made you even finally like act on that to get on a
Mhm.
video?
I suppose I just, like I said, I really wanted to take the next step in my career. I
Mm,
knew that video was something that was on the cusp of growing. And I knew that if I wanted to reach more people and amplify my message, that video, and specifically being on LinkedIn, was one way that I was going to amplify my voice.
yeah.
However, I was still quite scared.
Mhm.
You mentioned at the start of the show,
Yeah,
do it scared.
yeah.
Let me tell you, Fanny, I was scared. I was. It's no different, or maybe I like to talk about how it's so similar to public speaking.
Yes.
And we all have this fear of public speaking. And I went through some of those similar feelings every time I turned that camera on myself.
But what do you think was the tipping point, right? Like some people always think about it and
Yeah.
never act on it. And some people let the fear cripple them and stop them. But what was the final, was there a moment or it just came over you? Or like what was that final moment where you're like, okay, post? Or even
And
like
I don't care anymore what people might be thinking.
mm, mm, mm,
That is actually what was my turning point. Was I was more interested in investing in myself than I was investing in I was more interested in investing in myself than I was in investing in other people's opinions,
wow.
beliefs,
Yeah.
and attitudes.
Oh my gosh. Because you experienced some, right? You
Mhm.
actually got some
Mhm.
negative feedback,
Right.
right? How did you that's like
Sure.
our so-called our worst fear that comes out, right?
Right.
But how'd you handle that? And what was it even?
Sure. Thanks for asking. It was actually at work. At the time, I was a corporate employee,
Yeah.
and I just was shared with you how I was feeling vulnerable, and I wasn't quite certain how this was going to land in my community amongst my coworkers. And so when I went into the office the next day, I was greeted by a colleague, and that colleague brought it to my attention that they had seen what I was doing.
Mm,
And in fact, they weren't so sure what I was doing was a good plan.
mm,
And I might even want to show it to them before I go any further. And it was after I heard that feedback and still feeling quite vulnerable for the position I put myself in.
yeah.
To be honest, I didn't believe that what I had to say at that time
Mm,
was, well, maybe I second guessed myself, to be quite
yeah.
honest. And it was that
Imagine.
evening that I sat with a close friend, and that close friend started to challenge my thinking, challenge the way that I was speaking to myself. And it was through that deep conversation that I was able to become awake to the possibility of not caring so much about what others were thinking about me.
Mm,
It was okay if some people didn't agree with what I had to say.
mm,
What wasn't okay was me quitting or me stopping to
mm,
please another person.
yeah.
So that was the deep inner work that I needed to do. And a lot of that started with that inner dialogue that was going on in my mind. I really had to work on that.
And how did you even get to the point where you felt like it was time to listen to yourself versus others? Because I would imagine if you say it like that, then that would mean like previously you were listening to the opinions and approvals of others. But at what point did that shift happen where you're like, it's my time? It's
Mhm.
my time to share my message.
Right. And so I had just walked away from a 20-year marriage.
Mm,
I was in a job that I wasn't finding my purpose in, and I wasn't finding meaning in. And it was time for change. And I just knew that this pivotal moment, it was going to go one of two ways.
mm,
Either I was going to go back to the old Jen, the people pleasing Jen,
yeah.
or I was going to stand up and I was going to use my voice and I was going to be me regardless, despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the limiting beliefs.
Wow.
I was still going to show up.
Yeah.
And I did.
I could feel that,
Right.
that power in you.
I'm here today, honey.
Yeah. And there's such like satisfaction to that too,
Oh,
right?
amen.
It didn't
Yes.
even matter that like you got that that
Right.
feedback,
Well,
or
for
I mean you got it
so
from all
long.
kinds, right? And that at the end of the day it was just that one negative feedback. Everyone else was encouraging, and if I remember from the comments, like it was so supportive too.
Oh, isn't that fascinating, Fanny, how that one little negative comment took down the whole house?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I've learned now really it takes us 5 more positive events to lessen that
Yeah.
one negative event.
Yes. Yes.
So really, that was such a pivotal time for me. I'm so glad for I'm so lucky for that close friend that
Yeah.
challenged me,
Linda in the comments said, hooray for close friends. Yeah.
right?
We need to
Oh
surround
yes,
ourselves with a supportive tribe, right?
right. Just some others who believe in us. Sometimes we need to surround ourselves with others who believe in us before we believe in ourselves. And
Yeah.
in my case, that's exactly what I started to do,
Mm.
both with my personal relationships and in my professional relationships.
Yeah. And in the comments, Jason saying, I've always liked the quote, Jason Hopper, thanks for tuning in. It's not my business what other people think of me. I like that.
Yeah, I love that quote too. It just took
Yeah.
me a long time for it to catch up.
Yeah. Well, because we're, I think so long, even for my content tip, right? We seek, we're taught to be granted permission first, and then we'll do it, right?
Right,
But one thing that you kind of took on yourself is like you kind of challenged the status quo, right?
right.
You did something that others in your circle weren't doing.
Mhm,
And how did that
right.
feel? Like what did you learn about yourself from that challenge?
Mhm. Again, that it's really has to come from you. As I started to do more of that deep inner work,
Mm,
I started to, I say the word care. That's not true. Here, I do care about other people.
mm,
It's that I don't allow their opinions to trump mine anymore.
yeah.
So I want to be clear on that. I know we always have that tendency to say, I don't care what others think. And that's not entirely true. Um, it's more important to me, though, that I listen to my own inner voice
Mm,
before I just blindly follow other people's opinions, thoughts,
absolutely.
beliefs.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I know that you do a lot of coaching and as
Yeah.
well as like group coaching. And one of the things that I loved, I attended one of them, is you always talk about gratitude, right?
Mhm.
And I thought it'd be kind of cool if we could do one of your gratitude exercises right now.
Oh, I'd
Just
love
to
to.
audience, are you ready? This is going to be an interactive session here. You're not going to just sit and listen.
Awesome. Right?
We want you to participate, and please drop your comments and questions for Jennifer in the comment section below as we go through this. But Jennifer, you have this way of doing a gratitude exercise when you do coaching.
Right.
Can you lead us through one of those right now?
Absolutely. Part of my inner journey was really developing that attitude of gratitude. Prior to everything I had learned and prior to that deep inner work, I was not recognizing what was in front of me. I realized that as I slowed down, now I take time to reflect daily, how important it is to have that attitude of gratitude. And not always for when things are going good, but also when things are not going your way. And so thank you for inviting me to share this gratitude exercise with the audience today. It's a real simple exercise. I think it's something that I would like to invite us to practice on a daily basis. And that is to share with us, who and what are you grateful for today?
Let's say that again. So audience, in the comments, who and what are you grateful for today?
Right.
And while we wait for the comments, Jennifer, I love your point about not just doing gratitude when we're up, but especially when we're down or hitting a low moment to, I guess, in a way, you have to dig deep to be thankful when you're in your low moments too, right?
Right. And then recognizing too, as you're expressing your gratitude, all of a sudden, I know for me, my practice, all of a sudden it comes up, I'm thankful for the problem. I'm thankful that didn't work out. It allowed me to go through something else that I didn't see. And if that didn't fall off the rails, that wouldn't have happened. And it also gets you living from a place of abundance. Right? When we feel grateful for what we have, even though we may not have the outcome in all areas of our lives yet, when we have that attitude of gratitude, it really does add to our well-being. There's so many health benefits to practicing gratitude.
And even for me, like on days when I'm just like peeved or just grumpy, I'll actually write in my journal, even just something like, I love my bed and I'm happy to be on clean sheets and just like, you know, on my soft pillow, and then that's it. That was all I wanted to do. And
what is it about that elicits those good feelings? Right? I think that as
I think it's a pause, right?
Yes.
It like stops the chatter in my head, right? The chatter of, I forgot to do this. I forgot to do this. Oh, I forgot to call this person. Oh, I didn't clean this, the dishes, or I forgot to write this, like fill out this form for my daughter that was due for school. And that chatter, like sometimes just like, please stop. And, but like you said, like if I pause and even just like be thankful for my bed, it like just stops the chatter, and then it kind of like clears the fog a little bit in my head.
Right? Because you're in the present moment. When we're in the present moment, we have clarity, we have abundance, we have joy.
Clarity, abundance, joy. We have in the audience, they're coming in now. Nicole says, grateful for my husband and my daughters. They keep me going for sure. Yes, family. Yes. Jason, grateful for my wife going grocery shopping today because I hate it.
That's great. One for the wife.
Yeah. And actually, as I'm on the show, my husband's out at the grocery store. So
And one for
Jason. And Yolanda, my family and health. Yeah, especially
So
health
important.
right now. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Rosalind,
Mm-hmm.
grateful for my family and friends. We can be working like a dog, but at the end of the day, it's always nice to have those wonderful, special people
Right?
to come home to.
Those
Mhm.
connections. We
Yeah.
crave connection, right?
Yes.
And so,
Molly, new friends I've met recently, having the confidence to initiate conversations with those I've never met.
that's
Oh, Molly, I
huge.
love that. Yes. Yes. So true.
Oh, it takes a certain energy to be able to put yourself in that position, right?
Yeah. And have meaningful, deep conversations, even with strangers.
Mm-hmm. And yet, we need to do that more,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Some folks on here, I see them like Yolanda. Yolanda, I see her every week in here. And even though Yolanda and I have never met, it's I feel this connection with you, Yolanda, even just virtually, because I feel your vibe. I totally do. This positive, nurturing vibe that's given out. Um, Mike Rochelle, Mike, you got to tell us what you're grateful for. That's what we're doing right now. He's like, "Hi, y'all." Don't call me. He was calling me, and then I rejected your call, Mike.
Call me later, later.
We got Mark, grateful for all those wonderful dogs that I get to spend time with before they find their forever home. Yeah, yeah,
Right?
Mark, thank you. Absolutely. And then
It's
Debbie, health,
existed.
family, and friends. Go
It
ahead.
just tends to bring a smile to your face when you read them, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it doesn't undermine whatever problems that we might be going through,
Mhm,
but like even just reading that fills me with hope and, like you said, abundance, joy.
mhm,
It
mhm.
reminds me that there's still a lot of great things that are happening in the world. We just haven't stopped to say it out loud.
And it is a daily practice. It's not a one and done, right? We need to remind ourselves daily of what we have. We have so much information coming at us in any given day. It's very easy to forget. And so I love for us to pause and take a
Mm,
moment to remind ourselves and fill ourselves up with that joy.
absolutely. And another thing, just moving on to another strong point that you make, is also around mindset, right? This
Mm,
sense of
mm,
our internal mindset versus this external approval or need, right? And we touched upon it just a little earlier, but let's dive a little deeper even. What do you
mm.
mean by our internal mindset? What does that look like to you?
Well, I have discovered during my inner work that I gave no attention to my mind. So my mind was wandering. My inner chatter was going 100 miles a minute. My anxiety was there. I wasn't making good decisions. So actually, for myself, I was on the verge of possibly a burnout.
Mm-hmm.
It was through desperation that I stumbled upon meditation.
Ah,
And meditation has taught me, it's a tool that has taught me, well, it's about training your mind actually. And meditation has taught me to understand my mind and how it works. And the more that I understood how it worked, the less I started to resist the thoughts that were going on in my mind.
huh.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Right?
You were intentional, right, about the
Yes,
thoughts that were
very.
going on in your mind.
As I started to practice meditation and sitting in silence, and at the very beginning, I literally started with 2 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And I chose an app a guided meditation app to help me learn.
What do you recommend for our audience, Ashley?
Ooh, Headspace. Headspace is my number one, and Calm is my close second.
Okay.
And actually, Wellness Coach is a third.
I'm going to put that down for our audience. Headspace,
Okay.
Calm.
Those are just a couple that come to
And what was the last one?
Wellness Coach.
Wellness Coach. Those are all apps, right?
Yes, yes. And so part of my mindset work was dealing with the negative inner dialogue and also learning how to think more positively.
Mm.
I had a lot of negative messages coming in at any given time, and I wasn't doing anything with those negative messages except feeding them and feeding them more and feeding them more. I honestly didn't recognize. I didn't know that I didn't have to believe everything I thought. I did believe
Say that one
everything I
again,
thought.
because I think
I
it's a word
didn't
for you.
know that I didn't have to believe everything that I thought.
Yeah.
All those thoughts that were going on in my mind, I took them to be true. I didn't question them. And all those, and certainly all that negative inner talk and dialogue, I didn't even think that I could do anything with that. But through both practicing mindfulness and using meditation as an exercise of training my brain, I've literally changed those neural pathways in my mind now. Wow. And like you said, Fanny, I'm actually driving my thoughts now to more positive thoughts.
And you help others do that as well now. You've actually
Absolutely.
taken your own transformation and now you've paid it forward.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's so liberating to get out of our own heads and into our bodies.
It is.
And all of a sudden, and not all of a sudden, it does. I'm not going to say that it's not a one and done. Nothing I've done is a one and done. Everything I've done was basically unlearning and relearning. And that relearning takes that daily practice, that consistency and that discipline.
Yeah.
And so I love to share this with my audience now, right? So many of us
How many
have
of
that
you in the
negative.
audience actually love Jennifer's calm presence? Because every time I
Right?
give me a yes in the comments, okay? Because every time I listen to you, Jennifer, I just feel like just zen, just like nothing can hurt me. And I everything just kind of slows down. And like you said, the mental chatter even just like just quiets down. Yeah, like Linda in the comments, the magic in meditation is the slowing down. Yes, Linda. Yes, Jason said
Right. And then
that's key.
oh yeah, absolutely. Meditation also gives us that daily practice of learning how to let go of the train of thoughts, right? Because that train, it'll take you right down the bend and around the corner. Or at least that's what it did for me.
Yes. see, Nicole's like, yes, she's
right.
Jason's like, so chill. See, look at this effect you have on people. Her voice is so calming.
Oh, that's awesome. I have heard that. And I love that. I love that I have this calming voice that resonates with others. So thank you.
And then from that mindset, right? You take it to another level, right? You've talked to me about taking it from this fixed mindset to growth mindset. Like compare the two. Like what does fixed mindset look like?
Well, I had a fixed mindset before I did my mindset work. And by that, what I mean is that I believed that I could not change. I believed that my talents and my abilities were fixed and there was nothing I could do to change them. It wasn't until I was introduced to Carol Dweck's work. She does work on the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. As I started to read her work and I started to dive a little bit deeper into the work that she was doing, she too drew this she could see that when we had that fixed mindset, that it would keep us quite stuck and that we would remain, well, we would remain stuck. And that it was only when we, well, actually, I believe she did a study that showed the difference between people with a fixed mindset versus people with a growth mindset. And people with a growth mindset were more likely to grow. And the reason for that is because they believe that they can learn new things and that they're not fixed in their thinking and in their abilities.
So
So
what
she
would
also
someone with
has
a
a,
growth mindset look like or think? What are some examples?
oh, I think that with a growth mindset, you have that innovative thinking. You are willing to take chances. You understand that there's some learning and that when you have these new skills, that you can learn these new skills. Even failure, the word failure has a different meaning in a growth mindset. And by that, I mean it's not looked at as a negative, it's looked at as a positive. We need to fail in order to learn. And we use those mistakes as um, growing points, actually, instead of looking at it as a failure.
Wow. And it's funny, right? Like, 'cause as you say that, it just reminds me of as children, right? Like we go to school and we have tests, right? And if you fail your tests and if you don't pass, then like there's this ramification to it, right? And then we get into business world and there's still this like can't fail, can't fail. But then you get into entrepreneurship, which you and I are both in. And
Right,
if we don't give ourselves permission to fail or and learn, then we're
right,
we're just stuck, right? Like we're fixed. Right? So I
right.
find it fascinating that
Yes,
we never learned that in school.
we don't. And actually, Carol has a lovely assessment online that we can do to kind of assess where we're at in either that fixed mindset or that growth mindset. As I started to do that assessment, I
What's
started to
Carol's
become
last name?
aware.
I'm gonna let
Yeah,
our audience
sure.
spell that.
I believe it's DWECK.
DWECK.
ECK.
Ah, okay. Sorry
Hmm.
about my dog. I think there's a squirrel. Can you hear my dog? I think there's a squirrel in the backyard. So
It's okay. Don't
uh,
apologize.
Carol
These
Dweck.
things happen.
Yes.
Dweck. Yes. Yeah.
So there's an
So,
assessment you can take whether you're a fixed mindset or you have a growth mindset.
mhm,
Mm,
right.
I love that.
Right. And it was in doing that online assessment that I recognized, oh, I got some work to do.
Mm, yeah.
Because I was quite fixed in my thinking and in my doing, right? Just those beliefs that, oh, I wasn't born with those natural abilities, therefore I can't do it. And that's simply not true.
But what do you think is the difference between knowing something and then acting on it? Right? It's one thing
Mm,
to take the assessment, okay, I have a fixed mindset. Well, I can't change, so it is what it
mm,
is. And I never act on it, right? Like
mm.
whereas some people do. What do you think is the catalyst or the that turning point to get from fixed to growth?
Mhm. Well, for me, I wanted the growth. And I
Mm,
was always wanting the growth. I just didn't know how to get it. I didn't know where to start. I didn't even know there was a difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. What is this? And
yeah,
as I started to explore and uncover, I realized, oh my gosh, look at all the possibilities here. I want to do that. And
yeah,
so for me, I saw it as it really expanded all the possibilities. And I recognized how much I was holding myself back from all those opportunities and possibilities just in the way that I was thinking.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Linda.
Right.
In the comments, she included the link to
Oh,
Carol's
thank you, hon.
mindset psychology. Yes,
Of course
thank
she
you,
did.
Linda.
That is Linda.
Y'all,
Oh, I can
y'all
always
link to
count
that.
on that girl. Thank you.
Yeah, and yes, Mike says, fail forward. Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Now I have that mindset. Previously, though, I was really trapped in those perfectionism mindsets or in that lack mindset.
Mhm. I think one of your gifts, Jennifer, and I think I saw some comments before about that, is like somebody said I think it was Linda that said you're like the queen of self-awareness.
Right?
and and I do think I would agree. And I think even the more we're aware, actually once we're aware, then we only have ourselves to blame for not acting. Right.
Ooh, Fanny, I love that.
Right. But
Yes.
how did you get to that point of such self-awareness, and what advice
Right.
would you have for the audience to really get to that point of self-awareness?
So the more I started to learn about my mind and how I could change my thoughts, the more I started to increase my awareness around everything in my life. It was like, oh, I want to shine the light on everything. I
Mhm.
want to figure out how I can grow, not just personally, but professionally. And sitting in meditation has been such a gift.
Yeah.
It really increases your self awareness, it increases your compassion. That using that tool has unlocked so much for me in my mind that it's also unlocked a lot of limiting beliefs that I had. And the more that I shined the light
Mm.
in areas that I was afraid to see, the
Mm.
more I became aware of what I want, what actually brings me joy.
Please say
And
that again. I think yes.
I don't know if I can, hon. Sometimes I get such great ideas. They come in and then they're like, and we're gone.
I love it. The more you shine a light on areas that you think are dark
On those
areas,
dark
right?
areas, right? The
The
more
more
you
you
shine
learn
the
about yourself.
yes, right? And the more you face your fears around the things that you are afraid of, the things that, a lot of times too, we're afraid and we don't have the awareness about that particular area. Therefore, we just ignore it. We don't take that time to go in and explore, probably because it takes time
Mhm.
and it takes us being open to finding out new things about ourselves. And that can be a little scary at times. It's uncomfortable. It requires you to get real with yourself.
Mm.
And
Yes.
that's not something everyone loves to do
Yes. Yeah.
unless you're nerdy like me.
Yeah.
I
For those that
love to
don't
go
know,
inside.
because I've known Jennifer almost 2 years now, she's a huge, I call her like the data babe because she just consumes podcasts, books, articles, like just like all this information. But then
Mhm.
you like kind of sort it all out,
Right?
and then out comes this
Mm.
advice and tips and things that you offer your clients and folks that you coach.
It's so interesting you brought that up, Fanny. In the start of my self-awareness, I became an assessment junkie as well, taking all these online assessments. And one of them, and I say junkie because I like to do multiple ones. They are very good tools in increasing our awareness.
Yeah.
And so one of them I took is the Clifton Strengths Finder. And my top strength is input. So I love that you pointed that out. I do tend to take in a lot.
That's
I
great.
love learning.
Yeah. Well, growth mindset.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
can't stop it now. That's a good
Yeah. I got a question here from where is
yeah,
it? There from Jason. He said, does meditation make you more self-aware?
absolutely. Absolutely. Meditation also gets us out of our head and into our body, connecting with our senses, learning how to quiet the mind so that what we are thinking can come up actually. Quite often we have again, going back to our thought patterns, we have anywhere between 60 to 70,000 thoughts going through our minds a day. And if we don't regularly train our minds what to do with that information, it tends to go into overdrive, and it can tend to lead us into anxiety and overthinking, worrying. We're constantly thinking about the past, or we're hurrying towards the future. We're forgetting about the present moment. And that's what meditation teaches us, is to be in the present moment, not to worry, not to overthink, but to train our mind to let go of that does not serve us. Right. And when I missed the memo on that when I was younger.
It was never, I mean, yeah. Can you imagine if meditation was like taught at school, even if it's just for
Can
like
imagine.
1 minute a day, right? Where
Yes.
we learn to sit with ourselves, even for 1 minute at school.
Right.
Wow, what a difference that would
Yes.
make.
And we are seeing that now, Fanny. We're seeing that in kindergarten age now. Excuse me, and all the way up. It is advantageous at any age. And as a matter of fact, what I'd really love to do, and what I really love to do is I'd love to have a mom meditate while she's pregnant.
Oh.
I would love to see the research on baby.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yes.
At
'Cause
like,
it releases certain, like,
yes.
whatever the calming hormone is, right? When you
It's,
meditate?
and then also mom and parenting would also probably look a little bit different too.
I
I'm just
certainly could have
throwing
used
that
some of
out there.
that.
Oh, heck yeah. Gosh, where
Yeah,
was meditation when
I
I was
could
at
have
home with
used
the
some
kids?
zen.
Right?
Oh my gosh. And actually, Jason, to your point about, these so-called dark areas of our mind, right?
Mhm,
Um, is it important to accept them as well? What would you say to that?
mhm.
Because they're
Absolutely,
part of
right?
us?
That's what's also, see, meditation when we are just starting as well. Oftentimes we think, oh, this isn't working. I can, all my thoughts are taking me down all these roads, and I can't stop thinking. Actually, well, then meditation's working,
Mm,
because what it is trying to do is get us to stop. And whenever we stop, we'll notice this when we're about to go to bed.
mm,
Whenever we stop, our thoughts
true.
start going,
Oh my
right?
gosh, that's true.
Because we're not exercising our minds. We're not teaching ourselves what thoughts serve us and what thoughts we need to let go of. And during that process of sitting in silence, some not so good things are going to come up. And it's not about letting them go. It's not about resisting them. In fact, it's about letting those thoughts come up, letting the emotion pass through you, and letting go,
Wow.
right? When do we do that?
Actually, I would love for you, Jennifer,
Mhm, mhm.
to maybe lead me and the audience
Oh,
in a meditation minute. Okay?
ah,
Audience, are you ready?
drum roll, please.
You know I'm all about leading with heart. So
Right?
we're gonna do this, and I encourage all of you to do it with us. You don't
Yes.
have a camera aimed at your face, so you can
Right?
do it in the privacy of your own home. But
Absolutely.
but we're gonna do this. Let's do this,
Aw,
Jennifer. If
thank
you
you
could.
for inviting me to practice with you and your audience,
Absolutely.
Fanny. I
We
really
need it.
appreciate it. Yes,
We need
we
it.
do. And so thank you for this mindful moment.
Please.
I would like to invite everyone to get comfortable in their seat and to take a few big, deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Gently closing the eyes. Notice your breath. Where is it in your body? Is it in your chest? Or is it in your stomach? Is it long and slow? Or short and shallow? Take a moment to catch your breath, following the movement of your breath. Deep breath in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out the nose, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the next exhale, gently open your eyes. Thank you for practicing with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Even for me, even that brief moment, I just felt more centered, more grounded. And I think by concentrating on our breath,
Mhm.
my brain ends up focusing on that.
Mhm.
And then the chatter all quiets down and stops.
Mhm. Right. So I'd like to invite you to bring the pause into life as a habit.
Mm.
Do it before you're going to go into a meeting.
Mm.
Do it before you're about to learn something new. Practice when you're feeling anxious. Sometimes it just takes that moment, right? Just to stop, to pause, to connect with the breath, get out of the head. Because I'll tell you what, there is a lot going on in there. And right? I'm telling you, there's a lot of furniture in
You
there.
don't know. You don't want to know what's in
Right?
there.
Oh, I hear
Yeah.
you. So, let's gift ourselves with the moment to pause and to just recenter ourselves. Everything's going to be okay. We got this. We just need to take a moment to remind ourselves that we got this.
Gift ourselves a pause and a
Right?
moment. Wow. What do you think, audience? How'd you enjoy that meditation minute? I hope you did it with us. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think about incorporating even just 1 minute of meditation into your life and what that will do for you. I'd love to hear what you thought of that and what came up for you in that minute. Awesome. And as they come up with that, I want to time just flies.
Right?
But you had this way of saying be in the questions, right? And I want you to share with our audience, you have this 5 questions we should all ask ourselves, right? And
Right.
for growth, for mindset, for whatever, right?
Self-awareness.
Yeah. So what would
Right?
those 5 questions be?
Oh, thank you for asking, Fanny. Listen, I'll tell you what, when I was started my self-awareness journey, I could not even answer what makes me happy. I didn't know. I was, like I said, facing a burnout. I was so busy doing everything for everybody else. I forgot I forgot me. So today I want to pose some questions to us as a reminder when we're feeling lost, when we're feeling what's the next step, when we're feeling, I just don't know where this is going. let's remind ourselves to ask ourselves some questions. And
Right.
that first question is, what does success look like to you? Right? Not what everyone else thinks, not what everyone else wants you to do, but what does success look like to you? Once we figure that out, we can take the next step.
Okay. First question. What does success look like for you?
Right?
So jot that down, audience. You're getting live coaching right here with Jennifer Beitz. So you want to take
Hey,
advantage of it.
right?
Write down, what does success look like for you?
To you, right? I
Okay.
think that a lot of times we don't really know
Yeah,
until we sit down and explore and ask ourselves that.
absolutely. What's
And my
next?
second question is, this might come easily to some and it might not to others. What do you want? What do you want? Right? Now, I had a habit of giving you a long list of things I didn't want,
Ah,
but I couldn't tell you what I wanted.
mm.
I just knew what I didn't want.
Why is
So
that?
I had to, right? I think as an observer, I would observe and think, okay, well, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. And yet I wouldn't think about, well, okay, well, then what do I want? Right. And so it wasn't until I began to get quiet, in my case, practice meditation and do my journaling and do that deeper exploration that I started to come up with the answers. Because where are those answers? Inside.
Yes.
Except most of the time we're so busy. We're so busy hurrying. We're hurrying towards the future that we forget about right now, or as I like to say, right now.
And then that third question.
Is when negative thoughts pop up, because we know they will, how do you deal with them? Right? You just let that negativity take you down that swirling abyss, right? Where we tend to self explode and that self sabotaging behavior starts to come out. Or do we get more intentional about our thinking and how we are in control of our thoughts? 100% in control of our thoughts.
Yes.
We get to determine what comes in.
Awesome. Number 4.
Number 4 is, how do you care for yourself during a chaotic day,
Oh.
right? Many of us have chaotic day after day after day after day. And oftentimes I have found the busier we are, the more we go to the bottom of the list. And women, for sure, tend to put themselves at the bottom of that list.
Yes.
Other people tend to take priority. Other tasks take priority. And all of a sudden, you are, well, do that workout tomorrow. Or, well, I had planned to spend that hour, but you know what? This person really needs that. So I'll just trump myself. I don't need any care.
Yeah.
I can just go, go, go like an Energizer bunny, right? We can't do that. So let's gift ourselves and let's
Mm.
think about ways that we can care for ourselves during the chaos.
Mm.
There's a lot of chaos out there right now,
I love
right?
this
And so
question.
we can take care of our minds and our bodies, but we also need to be mindful of how do we care for ourselves.
Mm. Love it. Yes. This one definitely gets forgotten. Number
Right?
5. Yes.
And my last question, folks, is, who do you want to be? For me, I have found that through slowing down and starting to pay attention to the way that I'm thinking,
Mm.
excuse me, that I've become a lot less reactive and a lot more proactive, right? And I love to take that proactive mindset into my personal life and my professional life,
Mm. Mm.
right? And so I really want to invite us to explore who we want to be. Do we want to just be at the mercy of others and merely reacting every time they give us some feedback? Or do we want to learn what can we do so that we're becoming more proactive? So when things are coming at us, we're not reacting. We're actually taking a moment to reflect
Yeah.
and thoughtfully responding.
Oh,
Mm.
those are great questions.
Oh, great. I'm glad you
Oh my
enjoyed those,
gosh.
Fanny. I
Yes.
enjoyed putting them together too,
Yes.
right?
Oh, wow. Yeah. And just folks, just Julia is saying, like that brief pause, it would not impact my day at all, but make a difference. Yes. Yes,
Right?
Julie, for sure. Yolanda, gift yourself a pause. I think that that's the new
Phrase.
line, the new tagline, Jennifer. Gift yourself a pause. Yes.
Right?
So true. So true. This has been just phenomenal,
Wow. Where did the time go, hon?
Jennifer.
It's 5 o'clock. Oh, it's 5 o'clock.
Ah,
Time for a
but
drink, except this is
you, I know, right?
so cheers.
Yes,
Good
there you
luck somewhere,
go.
hon.
But I mean, well, you do this for a living now,
I
right?
do. I
You
do.
went from corporate to going through your own journey, shattering your own limiting beliefs,
Yes.
and now you've turned that into a course, into these trainings and coaching. Tell us about that and how people can find you and where they can reach out to you.
Oh, thank you, Fanny. People can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They can also find me on my website, which is, I see it's on the screen there, genuinelifecoach.com. And sorry, what else did you ask,
I'm
hon?
going to pull this up actually. There you go.
Oh, great. Oh,
There's
thank
the
you.
website.
And
Yeah.
I am offering one-to-one coaching right now.
Awesome.
I also am in the process of finishing my book.
Oh, so
Yay!
excited for you. And I even
Oh,
love
I
that
am
line.
too.
Like, I empower women to show up as
Mm.
they are, tune into their voice, lead from their heart, and take
Oh,
action. We shift fear to love and shatter limits. Ah,
yes. No
yeah,
more leading with fear and lack. Let's shift to love and abundance.
absolutely.
Hmm.
So, for all of you folks out there, definitely reach out to Jennifer. You can find her website, Genuine Life Coach with a J,
Yes.
.com. And then you can find her on LinkedIn. So, definitely connect with her on LinkedIn. It's Jennifer Beitz. And I love it. Jennifer Beitz, like, it just has this like jazzy attitude to
Right?
it. We got our jazz
There's those jazz hands again. Oh,
I
thank you
love
so
it.
much to everyone who
Yeah,
tuned in today. What
thank
a
you.
pleasure.
We had such like this is like this interactive way, right? I love it. I
Right?
love it.
Oh, good. I had a great time. Time flew by. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Absolutely. And actually, we had Debbie had just want to add another meditation
Oh,
app is Insight Timer. Oh,
love it.
I'll have
Thank
to
you,
check
Debbie.
that out. Mike wrote a whole look at this.
Oh,
Number one, success looks like growing myself. He's answering your question. Yes, success looks like growing myself and helping others to grow too. I want to love and peace for all. Yes. I quit negativity and think about beautiful and lovely things, quoting the noise. Yes. I create focus in turmoil and stay focused on the most important tasks, letting go of the noise. Yes. And I want to be loving and and giving. I'm not always, but it is the model of behavior I seek. Yes. Yes.
oh, thank you,
For all of you,
Mike.
yeah, connect with Mike as well. He's the
Right? Look
president
at
of
him
the
go.
Association of Business Technology Professionals, who I'm also a board member with. We actually have exciting events every month, the last Tuesday of every month. So definitely tune in to that. But
Awesome.
before you go, Jennifer, I do want to
Mm.
ask, what are you grateful for? I always like to kind of wrap up the show with a gratitude exercise myself.
You know, Fanny, really, this opportunity, can I just take a moment to express my gratitude?
Yeah.
You are an amazing host.
Mm,
I am so grateful to have an audience to share my message with today. And so you have gifted opportunity with your platform.
absolutely.
I'm also very grateful for all the inner work that I have done that has really allowed me to shatter those limiting beliefs. It was a real game changer for me. And I find now that I lead my life from a place of abundance and joy now. And that just
And you help
really
other people do
gives,
that now too. You've paid it
and now I
forward.
help other people do that. And so I'm just extremely grateful for the opportunities and the possibilities.
Oh, love it. And then last question, what's a life lesson that you've learned?
Gosh, I have a lot of those now, don't I? Well, again, I'm going to go back to slowing down, right? We have this idea that we have to go faster, that we have to be bigger, that we have to be louder.
Yeah.
And in fact, if we could take a moment to pause and slow down,
Yep.
we will learn faster, we will be more focused, and we will produce better results.
Absolutely. Love it.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
just
Thank
one of my
you.
life lessons.
Well, yeah, we could go another hour,
Right?
5 hours. Thank
Exactly.
you, Jennifer. Thank you
Oh,
for
thank you,
sharing
Fanny.
your wisdom. I certainly got a lot out of it, and I hope you and the audience got out of it. Definitely reach out to Jennifer and connect with her. For all of you out there, I do want to remind you, as I do every week, to shine your light and share your message, share your voice, and do it all through video. It's the second best thing to being in person. And here's the example of what happens when you start to shine your light and share your message with the world. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And I will see you next Thursday. Bye, everyone. Bye, Jennifer.
Bye.